The literary arsenal of a master. A warrior prepares for battle with weapons. Khushal Khan Khattak prepared for eternity with books. Over the course of his 76 years, through service and imprisonment, through revolt and exile, he assembled one of the most remarkable literary arsenals in the history of Islamic civilization. Not in Arabic, the language of the Quran. Not in Persian, the language of the Mughal court. In Pashto, the language his enemies considered a folk tongue, fit for mountain peasants and women's laments. He chose it deliberately, defiantly, and he transformed it forever. First, the Dīwān. The Dīwān-e Khushal Khan Khattak is the monument. Approximately 45,000 couplets, collected across a lifetime of composition from the 1640s to the 1680s, spanning the ghazal, the qasida, the rubaiyat, and beyond. Love poetry of devastating beauty, nature poetry of precise observation, war poetry of scorching political force, and philosophical verse that reaches into the deepest questions of Islamic ethics and human mortality. Scholars have compared its function for Pashto literature to what Dante's Divine Comedy did for Italian, the founding text that proved once and for all that this language could carry the full weight of civilization. He wasn't simply writing poems. He was arguing, in the language itself, that Pashto belonged in the same literary conversation as Arabic, Persian, and Ottoman Turkish. He won that argument. Second, the Dasta-nama, the Book of the Turban. In Pashtun culture, the turban is not merely clothing. It is honor made visible. To have your turban seized or removed by an enemy is one of the gravest possible insults. A violation of Nang demanding the obligation of Badul, of revenge. Khushal Khan took this single, charged cultural symbol and built around it a comprehensive ethical system. The Dasta-nama is a verse treatise that systematizes Pashtunwali, the ancient tribal code of the Pashtun people, into formal written philosophical discourse for the first time. It articulates the obligations of Malmastia, the sacred duty of hospitality, Nanawatai, the inviolable right of asylum, and the inner architecture of masculine honor as simultaneously a Pashtun cultural value and an Islamic ethical obligation. He did not see these as competing frameworks. He insisted they were the same truth, spoken in two languages. Third, the Baznama, the Book of the Falcon. On the surface, a verse treatise on the aristocratic art of falconry, the training, the handling, the culture of the hunt. But read it knowing that its author wrote it while enduring Mughal captivity, and the falcon becomes something else entirely. The bird trained to fly free, tethered and released, soaring above the world that holds men in chains. This is not merely a sporting manual. It is a meditation on freedom, on captivity, on what it means for a man of the mountains to be caged by an empire. The most politically charged metaphor Khushal Khan ever wrote may be the one that never mentions politics at all. Fourth, the Fazl-Nama, the Book of Grace. This is the theological core. Didactic moral verse, composed in the crucible of his imprisonment and its aftermath. The Fazl-Nama is the clearest window into the Islamic intellectual framework that underpinned everything Khushal Khan did and believed. Rooted explicitly in the Hanafi tradition of Islamic jurisprudence, it engages directly with the concepts of adl, divine justice, and zulm, tyranny. It articulates in verse the theological argument that a Muslim ruler who abandons the obligation of justice forfeits his claim on his subjects' obedience. This was not tribal rebellion dressed in religious language. This was a carefully constructed Islamic political theology, and it gave his resistance a legitimacy that no Mughal sword could cut down. 4 books, 4 weapons. Together they outlasted the empire that tried to silence the man who wrote them.